The football team is reeling. The athletic department is posturing. The Blueprint Sports client list dwindling. And the hot takes on the 191st episode of the Belligerent Beavs podcast are scintillating. The Belligerent Beavs podcast. It's all three of us for the first time in 3 weeks belligerating. Hey. And oh my gosh, by golly, do we have a lot to get to for all the things that have happened in the last 7 days. This is episode 191. Let's hear that hype music, baby. All right, guys, just imagine that you were able to hear that. It's been 7 days.
This is spooky season.
The Ring, baby. The Ring. 7 days.
It is The Ring.
It's the first episode of spooky season. This fucking horror show. I like my horror movies to be fictional. I never signed up for the non-fictional horror movie.
Yeah, this is
that
scarier
is Oregon
than the
State
Ring.
Athletics right now. God damn it.
This
7 days.
Scarier than The Ring.
All right, so if we all watch The Ring, not the movie, but like the video from The Ring that killed you, if we all found a copy of that, which would be probably more likely than Oregon State.
Nothing else.
Just watch.
See what happens.
Seven days from now, we get out of this goddamn mess that we're in. Oh my God. It's so good to see you guys.
Would you rather go out being upset about Oregon State athletics, or would you rather go out being like, I watched the Ring video and it actually killed me?
I saw it. She climbed out of the TV.
There's a right choice there.
And I was too excited to be scared, and then she
And it was
murked
actually
me.
Brent Blaylock.
No, now it sucks again. God damn it.
Now it's
Penny.
terrible.
Oh.
Well, to start with the positives,
The Ring movie is awful.
it is great to be here with both
It's
of you.
great to have you back, Terry.
Did I miss anything while I was in Italy? Did anything happen?
Trip.
It
You
seems
can't
I had
ever
to
leave
wonder
again,
if-
Terry.
I had to wonder if you had service, because we're like, is Terry getting any of this? And of course, you probably got it all in the middle of the night.
I had service. It was just 2:30 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. when I woke up to 300 texts on multiple days of this trip. Yeah, that's how much shit was happening. It wasn't.
Does your iPhone summarize text message conversations?
Oh, I would have loved to see the summaries.
Maybe. No, it doesn't.
Blueprint has been talked about as
Terry's
Blueprint.
still on iPhone 11.
That's not. I have a 16, I think. I do have a 16.
Oh.
Look
Wait,
who's growing
maybe I have a
up.
14. I don't know. It's in the teens, though. We're good.
Nice.
Well, what about one of these beauties? Look at that color. It's beautiful.
I don't have
Oh,
that.
that is a brand new one.
Right.
Yes,
I do
sir.
have.
I had to get the orange one just in time to feel so proud to be an Oregon State Beaver, man.
Hey, you can't spell chop 'em without hope.
Great
No, you
Sora
can't. Did you
video
see
that
the
you had,
future?
by the way.
Did you see that future video from
What future
12
video?
months from now? Or 12 months, I guess 14 months from now. But
Wait, like a video from the
this-
future, or like Future the rapper was talking about chop 'em?
That's another good idea for a Sora video.
Benny,
If
get
it's
on it,
AI,
you'll have
don't
it in
tell
about
me.
2 minutes.
I just want to believe it's real.
No, but there was a very funny video that was made on Sora and maybe shared by us and maybe created by us, but it was in 12 months, Oregon State wins the national championship. They're being interviewed after winning the national championship. I don't know what player that was, but it was
somebody.
They talked about being
Not
at the
taking
bottom
Rose.
of the pack and irrelevant, and everybody counted them out, but they, fought their way back. And it's all thanks to Coach Christian.
Christians.
Which-
yeah.
Timing wise was like, I think minutes before the firing was announced. Our Sora game has been on a roll. We talked about getting scandal after scandal within scandals.
Oh, you posted
for
that one?
Christmas. 4 minutes before Canzano put out his article today, finally shining light on the comments that Brent Blaylock made towards the great Steve Johnson. It's a future teller. So I do think that maybe Maybe
real
it's telling the
soothsayer.
truth somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is a fortune teller, an Etsy witch
Yeah.
of sorts.
And Etsy.
Yeah.
Witch.
What did you do, Benny?
Of-
Did you
of
do
sorts.
another?
I did not.
Did you buy
Lady
another
Mar-
It didn't
spell to be
work the
cast?
first time.
Marwin.
It did
something?
not work.
Anyway, if we
Yeah,
Marwin.
I forget what
Moen.
it was. Marwen.
Marwin. Marwin.
whatever.
Marwen.
Oh my God. Well,
Not
yeah, you
the best Etsy witch.
alluded to the firing of Coach Jamie Christian after the Beavs' most recent loss. We might as well talk about the game a little bit.
Here's my
I guess.
response.
The Beavs are 0-6.
Don't know.
It was
emoji.
definitely well, fuck, we got to do something kind of firing. This
Yeah, if even.
special teams has been a
Quick,
train wreck
sacrifice somebody.
all
I don't want to
year,
think about this. Like that's clearly what it was.
and they got roasted immediately for doing what everyone called for over a month ago. And with it, this is something, and we're going to criticize a lot of people probably for a long
It's
time,
coming.
because we're not getting out of this anytime soon. I think something that I'm not leaving too much time to be sad about, but I'm a little bit bummed to have now arrive at the conclusion that I and we are as wrong as we are about Scott Barnes in relation to 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was, when I would have given him as big of an endorsement as possible. But along with the firing of Jamie Christian was one of those, the thing I hate most in all of sports, from the desk of Scott Barnes, a statement to Beaver Nation. And it's a whole lot of nothing. And this is the second time he's done this in kind of the throes of realignment as this was happening. I remember being on this podcast and be like, I just hope we never get like an open letter to Beaver Nation that says some dumb shit like the gloves are off. We're going to do this the right way, the Beaver way, built, not bought. Reminder, I hate built, not bought more than anything else Oregon State has ever done until the Blueprint deal. And then a week after that episode on the Oregon State website was an open letter to Beaver Nation from athletic director Scott Barnes. And I was like, this shit never works. It always sounds so dumb. And it's now the second time he's done it. And the first time I could give a little bit of forgiveness to it, you just got fucked. And I will continue to say that, like, this program and this athletic department got fucked in a way that no other program, save for, I guess, Wazoo, which was done simultaneously. But man, what a weak ass thing to do, to fire a coach who's been a sitting duck for a long time and release some statement like, oh, we're doing the work. We're doing the hard work and we're looking at everything, and the sun will rise tomorrow, Beaver Nation. Shut the fuck up. That is not what anyone wants to hear from you.
The quest to excellence, whatever, like, begins in earnest now. It was
We've
like,
been asking, where the
grandpa
fuck are you for the last 4 weeks? And this is the first thing you say publicly?
The whole PR department at Oregon State within the athletic department is a total disaster. And we'll probably get into it later, but like Brent Blaylock's, like, it was a pathetic media tour.
Oh, it's media tour.
We'll talk about the media tour.
And then this statement by Scott Barnes, like, who is over there thinking that A, people are going to buy what Brent Blaylock says, and B, that's posting that statement was a good idea and how that would win fans over.
I don't know, maybe somebody that just enjoys a coldie every once in a while might have been behind a lot of this.
It just insults the intelligence of every single Beaver fan to be like, oh yeah, this is gonna work.
But that's all they've done. They just insulted our intelligence. I'm saying, like, this isn't a statement that's just like, oh, they're gonna buy it. Every decision that they're making is insulting to our intelligence.
You know what this reminds me of is it's like a big corporation that got caught doing insider trading or something and is coming out with some bullshit statement of how we're going to work to make sure that this doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Just like corporate jargon, but they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar and they are refusing to lay in the bed that they made right now.
You want corporate jargon, you want bullshit statements. I mean, we won't jump too far ahead, but my favorite one I had to make sure we pointed out was when Brent Blaylock talked about who's going to absorb the delta between what a player gets and what a organization or a donor wants to provide. And he's like, if a player, if some entity wants to, like, give $100,000 to a player, we're giving all $100,000 to a player. And then we're going to go back to that entity and say, hey, you actually have to pay $150,000 to get that player $100,000. And I, in my brain, and he's like, he even said, like, we're passing on the expenses to the businesses or the companies or whatever it is. And I mean, it was
and he's telling that to the people and the businesses that are going to be taking on that extra financial burden.
Yeah. It's like, it's literally as if Trump talked about tariffs and came out right away and said, yeah, we're passing it on to the consumer. Don't worry. Don't worry. They're going to pay for it. And I'm like, you're telling this out in public. How ridiculous do you have to be as a human being to assume I got a plan? I'm going to get a business. The penny pinching businesses who have accountants and CFOs and people who actually track every single cent spent. I'm going to get them to go above and beyond what they were going to commit originally. Any business that you go back to that say, hey, by the way, it costs you more money, they're going to go, then fuck you. We're out.
Yeah, 100%.
Some of those companies even have, you mentioned they have accountants, they have CFOs, they have CEOs. Some of them even have GMs, which Oregon State Athletics did have until very recently. A favorite son of Oregon State Athletics, someone who has poured in more than 20 years of blood, sweat, and tears to Oregon State. Friend of the pod and dapper gent, Kyle Bjornstad, who talk about the number of things that happened since you guys recorded episode 190. Bjornstad officially out. The writing was on the wall publicly. We had heard the reporting that things were frosty, which is a very nice way of saying things were just really shitty between Blaylock and Bjornstad, and that Kyle had been officially hired as GM in the sale from Damnation to Oregon State when Damnation was brought, quote unquote, in-house. And Kyle was coming in-house with it to be the athletic department's GM. And season-long credential shows up for him this fall, where it's supposed to say general manager. It says consultant. What everyone knows as just a catch-all title that means nothing. And Kyle's public letter of resignation comes days later. And it's just one of the many chapters of dysfunction that's now coming into the public light that has happened at Guild Coliseum.
I want to walk it back a second. I want to walk this back for a second because I think I love Kyle. I think what he did with Damnation was tremendous. That he took the reins of something that no one else was. I mean, there were people talking about wanting to touch early on. I'm talking about, like, there was Giant Killers. There was like a couple there was rumblings of people like we're starting a collective for Oregon State. This is like right after NIL became official. I mean, he took it by the horns and then navigated it to a way that was sustainable and that could actually deliver big value to student athletes.
Yeah.
And big value to donors and fans.
$5 million last year over year, something like that.
But yeah, $5 million was annual revenue.
This value will come up again.
And at a
so I just want to make sure we're
at a 5% expenses, capped expenses.
Oh, 5%.
There's not
okay.
There's 95% that's unaccounted for. There might be a little bit of a percentage that goes, elsewhere. There's partnerships and things that they also like to fleece their frenemies, but not gonna go down that rabbit hole. But I had to say, I think this was very much a ploy to dangle a carrot to Kyle to get him to finally not just he was clearly even in his interview with Canzano, like he was shutting down shop. He was closing up the collective because everything can pretty much funnel through the athletic department now and go in-house through rev share. And separating those efforts is what can make problems down the road. If you're thinking, well, if we're raising money and the athletic department's raising money, we're splitting donors at this point, right? We're like,
yeah,
we should be pushing everybody in the same direction. Yeah. And so I get why in his mind, it was like this time to shut down because, the house settlement is going to affect. All of a sudden he's told not to shut down. And then he's told to sell it. And then he's told, we'll bring you buyers. And then we know that the buyers were vetted, but it was already earmarked to go to Blueprint.
Right. I was going to say
none of the other buyers,
plural.
None of the other buyers, Beaver Sports Properties and others, impressed enough that the fallback had always been and intended to be Blueprint. They came back, offered Blueprint. Now, this isn't from Kyle. Just want to clarify this. This is anyone involved. This is me just following the timeline. They offered Blueprint and then the GM role, just sweeten the deal. Now, if you're Kyle, you deserved to be rewarded for what you had done up to that point.
100%.
But had we already established a GM role, had we already determined that we were pulling everything in-house, and this is the way we're operating because this is how we plan to do it, and here's why it's going to work better for us going forward, and essentially align with what Kyle was clearly trying to do by closing up shop. I don't think that Kyle would have been the first on the list. I think his involvement, absolutely. Him as GM, I don't know if it has the same gravitas as a Ron Rivera or as Andrew Luck, right? Like you have to have that, like you have to have that pull. And Kyle is a dude that you can gravitate towards, and he's just got a good aura, and he's a hard worker, and he cares about Oregon State. But I could see even from his perspective, he goes, all right, I'm kind of parlaying this into an opportunity that I can continue to just grow into, just like he grew into being a founder and president of an NIL collective. It wasn't like he was doing that beforehand. So I get why he took it. And I get why the school offered it now, because they weren't intending on honoring it. Somebody was not intending on honoring it. Somebody that might have been intending on honoring it clearly doesn't care anymore. So
yeah, or has lost complete control.
Well, I think that happens when you don't establish that you have some sort of level of interest and care. No one's stepping on the toes of somebody that is leading the way where they go, this guy cares more than anybody. I can't get in his way, because if I do, I'm toast. If you feel like he's not doing it, he doesn't want to do it, I'll do it, and I'm going to do it my way, and he won't even care, because all he wants is it done. Not done well, not done satisfactory, just done. So I have nothing to lose. So you got all these people coming in and, grabbing responsibilities. But like, back to Kyle, you can't treat somebody like that within an athletic department. And I think this is from what we've heard, what we've been told, and not just recently, but over a very long period of time at this point, that I think we were naive to think it was systematic. And clearly it is that the athletic department does not care about its employees. It does not care about the people who care about Oregon State at all. And it hasn't for a very long time. And it's not going to change within the leadership structure that it's in. That's it for episode 191.
That is, yeah. I don't think any of us have come to a different, thesis than that. Especially over the course of, the last few weeks, month now, since you started talking about this, JP, and since Sportico kind of dropped the bombshell that made more than just the wise and intelligent listenership of this podcast pay attention to the issue and start asking those questions. We can go a number of directions next, because like we've all mentioned, a lot has gone down in the last 7 days. There was Blaylock went on the press tour to clear the air, appeared on several different mediums, not this podcast. I haven't looked, JP, perhaps you have, as of tonight, Tuesday, October 7th, we did not receive a text, phone call, DM, or email from the athletic department to have Brent or anyone else appear on this show. Perhaps that ship.
So maybe it's in our public request records.
Maybe.
Well, that have not heard back from.
Public records, though, is a different department, and I'm sure.
No, but I'm saying maybe it'll be in there that we asked.
I mean, it should be,
because I don't know when the timeline. I don't know when the end point is. I have a starting point, but I just said the current
extended, but they didn't. There's a lot of appearances that he made, and I personally, I don't take it personally at all that they do not find the Belligerent Beavs worthwhile to appear on. Though if talking as someone with a lot of PR experience, I think it would be a great strategy to sit down with the first people who raised the red flag about the issue and have a dialogue. That is a way to, even if you don't come to an understanding, at least come to a level of respect and get some things out there. But that's not important.
So I think the tactics used instead are interesting, right? Because he went to what was more perceived power, reach, notoriety. Not that we Benny, put in an official request, but go ahead, Benny.
No, we didn't.
Well, yeah, I agree with that completely. I mean, I think that, we've talked about this amongst ourselves, that if you're a reporter for, let's say, the Oregonian, you're going to have to play the game, right? Like, you can't absolutely lambast the university and expect to get any more credentials.
We didn't even lambast the university. It took us 188 episodes to start lambasting the university,
but you know what I'm saying? Like,
it all started with the big game boomer photo,
right?
Well, so if you're writing for the Oregonian, you can't really go in there and ask the hard-hitting questions and expect that the university is still going to give you first access to
you're supposed
coverage
to
and be able to talk to, and you're supposed to be able to, but you can't. So
free the press.
He goes and talks with Canzano, who I know people have their opinions about Canzano. I really like Canzano and the work that he puts out.
I think very highly of Canzano.
Yeah, but Canzano gave him just softball questions, right? And
100%.
And I think that was
absolutely.
But he's skewering him behind the scenes.
He is, but you knew that was going to happen.
The timing of that interview is also important, because even at that point, I don't think the student athlete NIL, which is the most poorly named collective of anything, SANIL,
no
it's like
SEO.
anal but with an S,
no SEO,
and had really poor SEO. But a big part of it, and in that interview with Canzano, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Benny, but like that, one of the talking points was Brent being like, "Oh, this is a connection with like all these other programs, and we can just call and see what's going on at NC State and see what's going on at Maryland," which is interesting that he used those two, which are now the only other two full Blueprint partners, because
not for long.
The list of the 75 schools that were tied to, say, NIL, which Blueprint kind of claimed as their own clients, really was just more of like an affiliate thing. But that was seen as a positive of Blueprint, is that connected you with 80 other schools.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it was minutes or something. Again, Italian time. Guys, let's fuck off to Tuscany and just not pay attention to this anymore. It'll be so much better. But like minutes after that interview, student athlete NIL is closing up shop. It's ceasing all operations. The deal had been off for a while.
Right. But the deal was announced in February
and they had a 100 and they had a 120 day period to finalize the
sales
deal.
period. Yeah.
Right. And so that would have ended April, May.
There's two things wrong with this situation. One, that Blueprint overreached and said, these are our clients now, announced the deal is done as soon as it was signed on the dotted line. But there was clearly some sort of contingency or something baked into that deal that said, well, we have 120 days to figure out XYZ.
Yep.
What that was, I don't know. But they still talked the talk that those were their clients. They were listed on their website. We looked it up. The first time we looked it up, who's Blueprint? We saw
UCLA,
a ton of schools,
UNLV,
26 schools,
Georgia Tech,
30 schools, whatever it was. And then we go, but wait, Oregon State's not even on this list. That's so fucked up. And then like the next day after this episode comes out, guess who's replacing Georgia Tech on the list?
Those were the days when we weren't on that list. I'd love to not be on that list again.
It's a bad list.
Like, they talk about wanting to, how this is so good for Oregon State, yet they won't even put us on their roster. Like that's screwed up. Then all of a sudden, after that gets called out, somebody got a email like, "Hey, go fix this. Go add Oregon State to the carousel.
Put the most aerodynamic logo in college sports on that goddamn landing page."
Yeah, scientifically proven. But then it was what Terry and I were on, and we looked at it again. It was down to the 5 schools, and I was like, "That's weird. What happened to the rest?
What happened?"
And I dug into the source code of the website. Man, I was finding every single avenue to understand: is this just like a design choice? Hey, there's too many logos. Let's just shorten it up and put a few most recent ones on there.
Let's put the 5 best football teams right now. Oregon State.
But there was nothing. It had been removed. There was a carousel of, or a grid carousel of images, and there was multiple rows within that, and they had all been removed from the source code. They weren't hidden. They were removed. So that's when I started to wonder, where'd they go? Why did we lose 24 schools? Clearly, you're taking them down for a reason. Then, Brent Blaylock must be
the Sanal scandal
outside shaking his fists at the sky as it just purposely rains right in his face and nowhere else in the vicinity. And as he cries to the skies and wonders, why me? Why is this happening? Because every step he has taken has backfired, has just absolutely thrown up in his face.
Man. Well, it was the Canzano interview where he had said, we partook in this deal, or part of the reason we signed is because of the access with these other schools.
My other part of my thing is that if that is true, and he did either amend the article or it was included and it was kind of overlooked until it all became public that the SA NIL deal was off and they were closing shop, he did say that's something about like, even without those schools being involved, they had access to their systems.
Yeah.
And they had the data that we need. And that is the most shady shit that you can do as a business. Because maybe who backed out of the deal?
It was a revision because Canzano went back to him the day after and said, hey, did you know about this? And he had to admit, yes, I knew about it, but this is why we still signed the deal. And it was because of that reason.
Is that a shady business practice or no? That you pretend to acquire somebody and you back away on the last day that the deal could be finalized after announcing it's finalized and integrating their clients into your website, into your business practices, their data into your systems. Then you're luring in new clientele with said data that is essentially not yours. And then even somebody said new client tells the world publicly, well, we had access to the data. And that was all that mattered. I mean, he is literally confirming that shady business practice.
Yeah.
That led to, by the way, who knows? I don't know who was working at SANL. I don't know at all. But I'm assuming people relied on that as a livelihood. They relied on that as their first gig out of college. And they got shut down because Blueprint walked away.
Yeah.
There's an article written about it, and there was a quote from the guy who was the president of SANIL, and he seemed pretty fired up with his responses, but one of the responses he gave was there's just too many players in the space. And so if you sort of read
I believe
between the
that.
lines, there's too many players in the space, and you had a deal put together with another player in the space to sort of consolidate and become a main player in the space. And that deal didn't go through. Like, what? You have to wonder what happened.
But your data was stolen, and
your data, yeah,
used
exactly,
to leverage against negotiations or with negotiations on a new client.
Yep.
I mean, it's literally like Apple going and saying they're buying OpenAI or whatever, and then all of a sudden, or like Anthropic or Claude, anything like, just if they're announcing that, and then they sell a bunch of iPhones, and then they go, well, we're not buying them, but thanks for buying our iPhones. We learned a lot, and we have all their source code, and we're going to build our own thing off their source code, but thanks for buying the iPhone.
There are so many ways to be shady in college athletics, and these motherfuckers turned around and chose the lamest way to be shady in college
and
athletics.
Maybe the most shady way to
and
be
maybe
shady.
the most, and like the least effective. Like when this was all we had like our first episode after college realignment, and everything was a conference realignment, and everything was like, hey, I don't care how grimy we get anymore. Let's just let's break every rule to be good and figure this out. We're 0-6, and
we're so bad at breaking rules.
We are so bad at breaking rules.
We're 0-6
break them the wrong
at shady
way.
business practices. We're 0-6 at everything. It's not just football anymore.
Bro, if you can't be shady and succeed, like, you are a failure. And if you in a business where everyone is shady, if you opt to not be, I am sorry to say you suck at life.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
No.
Well, I think it's not working.
No, clearly.
We could talk present tense.
Right.
We're in the throes of this not
currently
working.
happening and not working.
Okay, so let's go back to the timeline then. So Blaylock does his press tour.
I have the timeline. I can give it if you'd like. And then so
over it.
A week ago, the longest week in the history of mankind right now. And Tuesday, September 30th, Sportico's contract scoop drops. Like, they have the first 4 pages of the agreement. They're at least the way that I've even heard it defended is maybe there is explanations on the next 14 pages, but you have to assume that if you need explanations on the latter 14 pages to clarify things that look terrible in the first 4, I don't think you've read a contract then in your life. The important details are up front. They are up front. They are not hidden in the back. If they're hidden in the back, they're even worse. They're not better. They're worse. So if the front ain't good, the back ain't better.
The last 14 pages are just blueprints lawyers going, ha, 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 and they're all caps. It's bullshit. They weren't even trying.
So that was Tuesday, September 3rd. Our episode came out Wednesday, October 1st, talking a lot about the terms of the deal, and we missed a few things. I do think this is actually an important topic. We don't have to discuss it, but I do think it's important to clarify, make a clarification that, again, the breakdown of the contracts percentage that goes to Blueprint, it is $0 of the first $750K are collected by Blueprint outside of their management
that's money
fee.
that's directly raised by Blueprint.
Money generated.
Yes.
Net direct revenue, if you want to quote a really silly term. And then
talk dirty to me, Forbes magazine.
Yeah. Then 75% of the next 400K, not the entirety,
just that 400K. So 300K.
Yep. But it is the entirety. Bucket. To clarify, it is still the entirety, but not 40%. It's 26%. Still bad. Because if you take 75% of 400K and you take that math and put it out of 1.15 million, it is still 26% of the first 1.15 million. And I think that's where people defending the deal, whether they're in the department or not, and saying, well, they don't take anything for the first 750K. That's just literally like you're just front loading the deal. You're literally front loading the deal and saying, let's make this look okay. And again, why are they front loading?
They're front loading the deal for this exact purpose so that they can
Yes.
get people to say, well, the first $750 you're not paying any tax on.
But it also
That's
gives them
exactly
an
why
out.
they're doing it.
It gives them an out to defend damnation memberships. Because what I assume, I don't know, I can't confirm. I haven't tried to confirm. But what I assume is damnation memberships, monthly memberships, annual memberships, totals, whatever, I don't know. But they don't eclipse CK. If they do,
Probably
it's a very
not.
small margin. But I imagine that they don't. But I think that that was set intentionally to cloak that none of that money, we're going to count that in the books first. It's recurring revenue. It's a subscription. So we're going to count it first. And then we're going to say, but none of that gets taxed. However, anyone else who donates and contributes that their revenue generated pays the tax on their behalf.
Yeah.
Even if you're in both sides of that equation, you're paying that tax. In general, it's 26% between the first $0 donation and 1.15 million.
And that's so ridiculous because who's to say that they have to count that money first? That's just what they're deciding to do.
Because it fudges the books and you can tell the narrative. Yeah.
%. So it's not actually that being a fact. It's just, I mean, that money's going into the same
it's creative
bucket.
accounting. It's creative accounting. It's going
Is
to the same
it?
bucket.
But
100%.
or is it? So if there's
it's creative accounting.
but isn't it fraud if you're out there saying that if you are making any kind of damnation monthly or annual membership, 100% of it goes to the student
Well, no, because
athletes.
they're not giving that money. They're counting it first. It is recurring revenue. That is your top line item as a business.
As long
What's
as
a
they don't
recurring
make
revenue?
more than
What can I
750.
guarantee?
But
That's a good point.
I know,
But
but
they're not going to run into that problem this year.
But also
Probably not.
maybe.
But I get what you're saying, but they have the main point of this press tour has been, if you are making this kind of donation, Blueprint doesn't touch any of it no matter what. Like that's like word for word what this has been saying. So
But no, go reread it. It is not saying that. It is saying that they're off limits, that they're not taking it. It's an agreement. Why is it an agreement? Because they're not taking any dollars out of the first $750,000. But then he also talks about it on the other side of the equation and says they have to recoup their money somehow.
right. But they
So he's
mentioned
dragging it.
the strategies in which Blueprint would try to generate revenue. Like that's been out there. So wouldn't they be guilty of fraud if money from these donations then eventually went to
Not unless you signed a
Blueprint
contract when you became a member that said like none of my money can go to Blueprint. And I don't think that's in there.
Probably not.
So,
but that's their whole defense on this press tour. I'm not disagreeing with you, but that's what they are saying.
That's what I'm trying to blow up right now is the whole idea that none of that money is going to go to Blueprint. It is going to go to Blueprint, whether that's directly pulling from said money or taxing anybody else extensively who donates beyond that threshold. And you might be in both buckets. Like you may be somebody that's a member who makes a contribution after that mark. Well, your contribution after that mark is still going to pay for your non-contribution to Blueprint before they took any rake. So you can't just assume these are chunks. This is accounting. You don't just go, well, that revenue, that's different. We're not dealing with that. Like they're showing the contract in that way because it's easier to defend publicly. But if you are saying we're helping them recoup their losses,
right,
for the next $400,000 to give them $300,000 once we hit 1.15 million. Essentially, what you're saying is we're giving them $300,000 when they hit 1.15 million, and then they go, well, at what point can we say let's not tax that publicly? And the safe agreement was clearly $750K. And then they're like, fine, but then you have to give us 75% of the next $400K, and then we're good. We're 26% at 1.15 million. That's what we were probably looking for. And then anything after that, it's eat what we kill, according to Rob Stein. Like, we're in it together. a
Well,
bigger piece of the pie.
That's a great point that you bring up, that there's this structured deal, because you would think that you would have just a flat percent, right? You'd have a flat percent, because then we talked about it last time. If you have the 75% and the threshold to get over to 50%, like, why would you raise that money? Although that has sort of been rebuffed now, but yeah, like, why would you have it be 75% and then 50%? That doesn't make any
because the 75
sense.
equates to 26
Exactly.
at 1.15.
That's exactly why they're doing it, so that they can build this narrative, which is absolutely misleading.
It's just false goodwill. Yes, misleading goodwill.
Misleading. And I mean, yeah, going back to the tariffs thing, what it reminds me of is us being told that, well, it's the importer that's paying the tariffs. You're not going to have to pay the tariffs. And it's like, well, they're not going to take a loss on that. They're going to pass that loss on to us, right? Like, and that is exactly the misleading type of bullshit that's going on right here.
But the difference in a tariff and this, other than like, it's very similar in the way that Blaylock presented it as like, oh, we're passing on the cost, is those businesses aren't going to be like, well, we need this to survive. Like, we need to get our products and goods into the country in order to like make our living. That's where our client base is, our customer base. These are literally altruistic or maybe slightly personally motivated businesses or executives that want an exchange, a fair exchange. They literally want to say, I want to give X program, X athlete, X amount of dollars. In exchange, I want these services. And if you're going to go back to them and go, you're going to go, deal, we're going to bring it to them. We're going to get this thing done. And then you go back and go, hey, remember that $100,000 deal you wanted? It's now 150. And then you can imagine going to them and going, I mean, that's already bad. But is it worse or just as bad to go to said business and go, what do you want to do? Hey, we want to give X program, X athlete $100,000. Love that idea. Let's get it done. Here's how it works. You pay $150,000. Blueprint takes $50,000, and the athlete gets $100,000. And they go, no. We wanted to give programmer athlete $100,000. They're not. It is absolutely taking it from the athletes. It is absolutely going to drive away any sort of partnerships with any corporations.
Well, and
if you're going to approach it that way,
this.
I mean, that's like a fantasy living.
If we raised $5 million last year, and Blueprint and Oregon State were certain that donation or subscriptions were not going to surpass 750,000, that leaves $4.25 million out there that were being donated by individuals or businesses. And so when Brent Blaylock and Scott Barnes goes out there and says, well, none of your subscriptions are being potentially, that is shouting from the mountaintops to these other corporations and individuals that are donating a ton.
Right.
Yours is going to be taxed more.
That's another thing that bothers me, because the other thing that they have been on this like defensive about is that this gives Oregon State access to revenue it wouldn't otherwise have had access to, when you can just look at some of the NIL deals broached before Blueprint came along. You can get to 2.5 million by just looking at 5 different football players. And those aren't the only 5 Oregon State athletes inking decent to pretty good NIL deals. So especially if you're coming up with this $750,000 mark, and like, that's the kind of like, oh, like all of that is going to go to Oregon State 100%, no problem, before Blueprint even touches anything. That's not even sniffing what Damnation was doing prior to this agreement.
No, and you've completely alienated your big donors and the big corporations.
But you haven't. That's a correction I think we also need to clarify, is you can donate directly to our Beaver Nation, and that goes directly to rev sharing towards athletes. But it doesn't excuse why we're in the situation we are. And that's why I think even the questions around how did we get here?
Explain that further.
Yeah,
explain
what
that further.
Possibly got us to agree to this kind of deal. One, let's go way back when Scott Barnes publicly claimed, when the House settlement was decided and rev sharing was, the ceiling was announced. And we talked about this, at least in our text thread. He came out and said, Oregon State's not even coming close to that ceiling. Like, I mean, that's maybe an exaggeration of his word choice, but it was essentially like, Oregon State isn't going to hit the ceiling. We're not going to hit the $20.5 million rev share ceiling. They opted in for it, but they aren't hitting it. They almost, when you opt in for it, you actually have to pay more money in the settlement. So opting into it and then not thinking you're going to even earn that much money, and then now handcuffing yourself to this larger payment is obviously a bad choice, a bad leadership decision. But publicly proclaiming that you're not going to do it, and not that we're going to try, of course, we're going to turn over every stone. We're going to make sure that nothing stands in our way of making this happen, and we're going to like do it or die, right? Instead, it was no, we're not getting that ceiling. Okay, fine. We're not going to get that ceiling. That's where we're at. That is our situation. Acceptable. But what's unacceptable is everything can go in-house through the athletic department now, through rev sharing. Rev sharing isn't just TV money. It isn't just sponsorships and partnerships. It's donations as well. And as long as it's under $20.5 million, you can distribute it to in any way you like. Of course, that's going to lead to collective bargaining with the players, but any way you like, to student athletes in any structure you like. Now, why would our leadership, who has said we're not going to hit the ceiling, that gives an avenue that's tax deductible, by the way, which collectives tried to be and never succeeded at being, another channel to get donations for student athletes, where every school is bringing their collectives in-house. Arkansas brought theirs in-house. Other schools have been bringing theirs in-house. A lot of the reason why, not just the Blueprint partnerships or any, but all collectives are closing. The reason why Kyle was planning to close Damn Nation on July 1st, because everything can be done in-house that they were doing. One, if the effort's there, the mentality's there, the creativity's there, the relationships are there. That's a lot of ifs. But if they're there, you could do it in-house. With us, those aren't there. But you only have a collective if you're going to hit the ceiling and you need the cherry on top. If we were going to hit $20.5 million and we knew it and we talked about it publicly and we said it's a no-brainer, it's happening, and we got into this really terrible deal with Blueprint Sports, I would easily come to his defense and say, yeah, it's revenue we wouldn't have generated otherwise, because our ceiling was hit. We can't give our athletes any more money from our revenue generated by the athletic department. So we need a third party arm to bring us something. Even if they're taking half the cut, it's better than stopping at the ceiling. But we're not even hitting the ceiling. So why did we partner with the collective that's going to be splitting donors, splitting donations, and we're getting paid to do so if we still have wiggle room within RevShare to give athletes money without the expense of a third party managing a collective? I mean, that is the epitome of absolutely terrible strategy and bad business decision making.
So what you're saying then is, if you're a big donor, you just donate through the university.
You just donate to our Beaver Nation, and it goes right to the athletic department, and it goes right to wherever you've earmarked it, because that is what the outcome of the House settlement is.
So then,
so why have the collective?
Subscriptions have to go through the collective?
I mean,
or do they?
You could have monthly contributions that are recurring to the OSU Foundation, which our Beaver Nation is a fund within the OSU Foundation.
Right. So if you're Scott Barnes, the way you save this, or save any sort of face, is to build up fundraising through in-house means, essentially.
And Oregon State's done a great job fundraising through the foundation over the last 20 years.
Right.
A great job.
Across departments.
Yeah.
But they couldn't touch sports. They couldn't touch sports. But now they can. They can.
Right.
But again, if we're already resigned to the fact that we're not going to hit the ceiling, and we have a great fundraising arm, and the OSU Foundation. Why have Blueprint involved at all?
The way you're describing it, completely agree. That doesn't make any
why
sense
was
at all.
Blueprint presented as the sole candidate to be who acquired Damnation?
But they weren't the sole candidate, but they were the only one that was selected.
They're the only one that got to the final piece of paper that Kyle referenced.
And who made the selection?
Brent,
I believe,
And
a distant relative of Mookie Blaylock.
Mookie Blaylock.
Yeah.
That's who I always think of when I hear
Probably
that.
very distant. But also, who's walked back their knowledge of to maybe seen, to maybe interacted with, to probably worked with, but don't recall ties to Blueprint CEO Rob Stein. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a catastrophe. Right now, the whole situation is a catastrophe for Oregon State. But this is a career-ending bomb detonation by Brent Blaylock. In any other circumstance, if any other athletic department had employed him at this moment, he'd be toast. He'd be absolute
If
toast.
any other business hired him or had him as an employee and he made a decision like this, he'd be gone.
Well, just the decision, yeah, but the backtracking, the way you're trying to maneuver and massage the numbers, the media tour that didn't help you. If you're going to go on a media tour like that in the middle of a crisis, you sure as hell better be prepared. And he ends up on it with Canzano, and he is shook. He ends up talking to Orem, and it's still defensive as all can be. Even with Angie, he was defensive. I mean, but he didn't get too hard of questions. With Ryan Harlan, those were tough questions. And he contradicted himself a lot. Not just within the same interview with Ryan, but within every other interview he had given on that tour.
Yeah, it's the more information that comes out, the more he's having to backtrack and sort of like do these mental gymnastics to get a story or a narrative that would incorporate everything that has come out, plus his original stance, and it's becoming impossible.
Right.
Like, that's what's happening, is it's becoming impossible for him to have a narrative on this that doesn't contradict something that he said in the past.
So my question for you two, and Terry, I would love even to hear your thoughts on it for a second, because I mean, I think Benny, you and I kind of touched on it last episode, but if Blaylock is this hung out to dry, where is any action to either end it or defend it?
I think
I'm talking where there's two people who could come to his defense at this point. It's Scott Barnes and his president Murphy.
And
where are
neither
they?
of them seem
Why are they not
to
saying
be
anything?
coming to his defense?
Or coming to anything.
Yeah, I think because there's nothing to. Well, that's not the right word. I think because it's indefensible. I was about to say because there's nothing to defend. That's not correct. Yeah, it's indefensible.
So why do you think they're leaving him out on a limb?
Because if they were, say, right after the press tour, they were.
Is it because the athletic department as a whole can't stand Brent Blaylock?
That could be. And there's stuff that came out even today that harkens back to something we had several episodes ago that I know we need to talk about before we get out of here. But if
5 months ago,
if Murphy or Barnes were to endorse, like go out of their way to publicly endorse Blaylock after the press tour, and then all this information that we've been talking about for the last several minutes comes out after that statement, then they're even more fucked than they are right now. That's where I'm frustrated with the lack of communication from Barnes, but from that sort of in-house bureaucratic strategery standpoint, I understand the logic coming from that house of why he's not out here saying a bunch of things. And you have what is becoming increasingly obvious as a lame duck in Blaylock, who is not shifting the public opinion at all, and I don't think is bringing in any kind of money that we don't know about. Public defense of him would only make things worse at this point. That's not to stand by them doing nothing because I'm frustrated by the inaction of this. I am from the president. I would want Murthy to be in Barnes's grill saying, "Get your fucking house in order, dude." I don't need her to say that through the media. Like, I'm at the point now where I've lost trust with the entire athletic department and increasingly of the belief that a full teardown is what's needed, especially as you enter a new era of a new conference that you're being a part of. The timing for that is probably best right now, and not like, let's hope this gets better in the first year of the new Pac-12 or the second year of the new Pac-12. And if it doesn't work, we'll make a change then. So I don't know. I think that is probably why you're not seeing a bunch of even higher ranking employees come to Blaylock's defense, because that also would make him look even weaker. Like if we were to like be in a position where we had to go on a press tour and one of us goes and like makes a bunch of statements, and then after that the other one goes like, yeah, what he said, he's doing it right, it's like you're kind of undermining that person's like the strength of their own voice. So I think that is probably why they haven't been out here on the front lines trying to defend him, because they want the message from Oregon State at least to be like, he's handling it, he's doing his job.
Don't spin that narrative, because that's
I'm not spinning anything. I'm not spinning anything.
I don't want to put even that out there, because I think ultimately that is not true. I think they're not at his. I think they're not his defense because they don't want to be, because they know that he is an abysmal human being. I mean,
you can't
call him today smart but stiff and aloof.
You can't fire him in 2 weeks.
And I think smart was a way to keep that line open for any future interviews. I think that Canzano, if he really wanted to edit this for full bore, like I'm burning this shit down, he would have just said Blaylock is known to be stiff and aloof and no one likes him.
Yeah. And I would say, Terry, I think you're right. And I think both of you guys are right. But here's a little thing I think might be going on is Blaylock has clearly taken over the athletic department. And JP, to your point, whether that's Scott Barnes doesn't care or Scott Barnes doesn't care because he is like not paying attention.
He doesn't care,
right? Like
he doesn't care.
But regardless, Blaylock has taken over the athletic department. And I think that's very clear. And I think he's made decisions without consulting Barnes. And I think that Murthy and Barnes are nervous that Blaylock isn't telling them the whole story, and that there's potentially more stuff that could come out that if they go to his defense, they're going to have egg on their face if more stuff comes out that Blaylock hasn't keyed them in on.
Well, you also look silly if you come to his defense today and then fire him tomorrow or whatever that timeline was.
Well, and what did but what I mean,
that's the only reason he hasn't been fired yet, because he's still a relatively new employee from hired by those exact same people.
Yeah.
And they don't want to admit
this is the same issue with Jamie Christian and Trent Bray.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He called, the same shit. He called Trent Bray called his unit a fucking joke on national TV, and then
in the second game.
And then defended him
the second game.
2 games later, after being 0-4, defended him, saying that the coaches that are here are in place to, that like to best serve the student athlete.
That was the first time he sounded like a CEO after that board game. That's some CEO-ass shit.
I guess. Yeah. But then you go 2 more games and you fire him. So
it's eerily similar. Eerily parallels what's going on.
I think that came down from Barnes. I was like, all right, someone has to go at this point. But he could have strong-armed that after game 2 and didn't. And but also I don't care about firing the special teams coordinator 6 games into the season with this other shit happening.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
100%.
Again, I think we should reiterate, we don't care about the terms of the blueprint deal. We don't care about the performance on the field as much as we care about the firing of a special teams coach that clearly was causing plenty of losses and problems. But like, what we care about is this is a broader, larger, systematic issue within the athletic department that trickles down to everything it touches, which is every sports program at Oregon State that you love, and it's only beginning. It is only beginning. This is not done, but man, this is bad.
100%. And I think one thing that came out of that story about Kyle, it may have been in his resignation letter, but I think it was a story where he mentioned that that Barnes had approved him to be the GM, and Blaylock took it upon himself to say, nope, you're going to be a consultant. And I think that is so absolutely telling of the type of person that Brent Blaylock is, the type of boss that Brent Blaylock is, how he runs his operation. And it definitely connects a lot of dots from information that we're hearing from inside the athletic department that Brent Blaylock is not well liked amongst members of the athletic department.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, how does he still have a job? I know, like, we have been dancing around that question, but how does he still have a job? I don't understand. I mean, even if this deal somehow made sense on paper, the fact that it leaked, the fact that he's done a press tour that has been embarrassing to him and to the university, it's indefensible. The way that he's conducted himself both in and outside of the confines of the athletic department has been atrocious. And I feel legitimately bad for the people that have to work with him at the university. I mean, imagine a boss that you get hired to do a job and your job title is a job title that you can be proud of and it's a good job title. And then you have your manager come and say, no, you're not going to have that. We're going to have you be.
But it's been that way since before Blaylock.
It has been, but Blaylock has taken it to an absolute new level.
Because he's enabled. Because the person in charge doesn't see a problem with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Completely. And I agree with you guys. Like, everything needs to be torn down. But immediately, I want Blaylock to be like he's an it's not just my anger with what he has done. He has become an embarrassment to the university.
Right. Well, on
May 7th, we talked about, maybe Terry, this is what you're getting at. May 7th, we talked with Steve Johnson.
Yep.
And we wanted an update around the Orange Express collective idea that he had proposed on the first episode we had him on, which we thought was a great idea.
Home run.
Could really help a home run. And that
Perfect.
Could
what the
really,
program needs.
Truly help a struggling program that was once in the very, very, very upper echelon of programs within college basketball, college men's basketball. And I think at the time when he talked about why he's done and why he's not pursuing anymore, there was a lot of things that Steve provided. And I think a lot of it was inability to collaborate and work with the university anyway to like financially have it make sense for the university and for him to see eye to eye on how things get done. But what was pretty clear to us was the interaction with Brent Blaylock and what he said at that point about he planned to meet the OSU Foundation and Scott Barnes. And when he showed up on the Zoom, Scott wasn't there. Instead, in his place was Brent Blaylock. And then it led to the now infamous quote about that no one will, once you leave Gill Coliseum in 10 to 15 years, no one's going to remember you, not even if you're Gary Payton. I mean,
unbelievable.
I see what the idea was of, and not saying it's a good idea, but I see the idea of we're focused on the front of the jersey, not the back of the jersey mentality that Brent also stated in that session. I get that. If it was 2015, not 2025, because at this point you have to manage both.
Right.
You have to promote the individual as a part of your unit of the university. And the fact that they were unwilling to, one, even consider the idea of doing anything but the front of the jersey tells me that there's laziness in the athletic department. And then you fall back and you just bring this ego and call out somebody who has gone out of their way to develop an idea that could actually help them do their jobs more easily.
And we saw that proposal too. It's like dozens of pages worth of detail that Steve put together that got sign off from fellow Oregon State alumni, men's basketball alumni that the university has been desperate to try and reconnect with, or at least claim to be desperate and trying to reconnect with.
That we've been desperate for them to reconnect with.
Yes. The department and the university have not been desperate, unless it means getting their money, unless it means getting their donations. And that's all they're trying to do, to reach out to any of those previous star athletes from that era. But we saw it then. But I think we all just thought, what a shitty, stupid thing to say to somebody.
I think that was the first I'd heard of Brent Blaylock, was that conversation with Steve.
That was the second time I'd heard his name.
You're
and
not
I maybe
supposed
even said
to
in
know
episode
who these employees are, folks. Like, they're like offensive linemen. When they're good at their job and they're doing their job, you don't know who these people are. That's the ideal scenario.
But I remember at least thinking at the time, or even saying at the time, is that the guy who came from Arizona, because he had just like really come from Arizona like a couple weeks before.
It was like, oh, Arizona basketball, cool.
Or like a month before. But anyways, like I was already worried about that. And you can go all the way through Brent's work history. If you really want to go through his history, right? We've talked about Arizona and their misplaced $300 million that can be accounted for. And not saying that he's responsible, but also if you go and read his own job responsibilities,
it should come up in a job interview. Like, hey, you're leaving a place that's in financial ruin. What can you tell us about it?
His own job description and responsibilities on LinkedIn talks about advising the CFO of the athletic department and other coaches around like budgets and other things associated with the finances of. Oh yeah, and he was obviously like all involved in their NIL. I mean, he was the point person in their NIL. But like, I'm talking about
he decided how many lifeboats should be on the Titanic.
We don't know where this money
That's the type of decision making.
I still don't think
it was
they
a calculation error or a comma error. Well, they came out and said, "Oh, we've been able to find like some of it, but like still like 30-something million is
it was like a data entry error that led to
data entry error." How
the university
how convenient. And as that is coming to light, guess what? Brent Blaylock is in the job market, and he wasn't fired, at least as far as we know. Not trying to like disparage his career like ladder, but he left at the right time. Then, no matter how you position the way he left at the right time. And then, Terry, as you brought up, wasn't there a little bit of a problem with athletes at the U at a time when Brent Blaylock was at the U?
Brent Blaylock was
at
the University of Miami.
There was
during the Randy Shannon era, and if you are,
which was an error,
which a little bit, there are a lot of errors.
There was an error
happening.
Like Oregon State's in an error at this moment
at the U, and again, similar. I don't have his LinkedIn profile pulled up. I mean, this is public. Day-to-day football stuff.
It's always up. It's always up. Brent, you're
right.
I watched your LinkedIn profile as closely as Benny used to watch the webcam of the new side of Reeser. I am on it.
I forgot about that. Good old days.
Right. On it, man. I am on it.
I think this is a little bit less nefarious because he left in January of 2011. I think he was one of Randy Shannon's guys, and Randy Shannon was fired at the end of the 2010 season. But I kind of just looked at it. I was like, oh, January 2011. I wonder if that was, that was the year that all of those punishments got handed down from the Nevin Shapiro scandals. Now, I'm not here to compare Brent Blaylock to Nevin Shapiro. I'm not doing that. Nevin Shapiro is a convicted Ponzi schemer, convicted for a lot of things, being a piece of shit person who took a lot of money from a lot of people, and was also doing things like that at Miami as early as 2002. And Brent Blaylock was not there. So I don't think there was anything like truly like that level of like actual, I'm not alleging criminal activity here, but your day to day with a football program, this was like the most like unhinged, out of control part of the U's history, which is a program that's entire brand is being like unhinged and out of control.
There's
so
some
sometimes in a more
boys.
productive way than not. And if you're interviewing anyone for a job that was like, I was at the University of Miami football program from 2008 until January of 2011. Like, I have 1,000 questions.
Yeah.
Oh,
that hasn't come up.
And then you layer in, but you were also just at the University of Arizona, where you are the senior associate athletics director, administration, and institutional control, where you, again, to reiterate, he collaborated
when you think
with
University of Arizona, the
Athletics.
last thing you think about is institutional control.
Institutional control, yeah. But he collaborated with the director of athletics and chief financial officer on department and team operating budgets, of which 300 million could not be accounted for.
And when you think of the University of Arizona, you certainly don't think of budgets.
No,
they don't have it anymore.
No. But hey, there's a gap there. Do you know that gap in that? The
gap.
I know. I mean, I actually do. I want to bring this to light. I don't really want to dig all the way in this man's personal business, but this is public business, and he is currently our deputy athletic director and chief operating officer that is dragging our university through the mud. And I've had enough. I've had enough.
Look, I mean, we bring it up for a reason. Controversy has followed this man everywhere that he has gone.
And there's more.
Now, let's hear it.
After the U, he went into the racing business, Penske Racing, and then into the NFL as a scout with the Cleveland Browns. So you just assume how well he did there.
That's low hanging fruit.
Yeah, that was easy. Brent, thank you for that. You did well, man. You turned them around. They're incredible now. But after that, assistant athletics director of compliance at Kansas as of December 20 to July 2017.
The Adidas probe.
This is the Adidas probe. This is the Adidas probe. This is the Cliff Alexander mom's loan. This is the Billy Preston car. This is all things that should have been under his watch that somehow weren't detected by him and found out later. Found out by somebody else.
To be fair, that is the way I wanted him to be shady, or I wanted Oregon State to be shady. Like, get the guys' cars, get the moms bags of money, like that kind of shit I've always been cool with. Like, why can't that be the scandal that's happening here as opposed to this blueprint shit?
Well, yeah, because now it's fine.
Cool if
but
the
point is that you're operating, you can operate within the blurred lines of the rules, but when you're blatantly breaking them or turning a blind eye to people blatantly breaking them, and you're turning a blind eye to being able to not account for something that could have and still very well may put an athletic department into financial ruin, like, that's on you.
Yeah.
Like, you're making the bad choices about being bad. Like, can't you just make the good ones and be like, yeah, I pulled that off. It was sick. It was awesome. No one caught us. And everyone benefited. There was no one hurt. It was just a stupid rule. Like, we made it happen, and I don't regret it. But now it's like, you did all these things that you got essentially caught for. And there's things that are going to cause a massive avalanche, or have caused a massive avalanche of ramifications, while you just skirt away to your next thing.
And he skirts away at the right time each time, too. And
Every
not saying
time.
that he was involved in any of this, because we have
But
no
he's got a
proof of that.
good exit strategy, man. He's got the Irish goodbye down.
Which begs the question of what did Oregon State see in him? I mean, they saw...
Who hired him? It had to be Barnes, right?
Yeah.
And also, why Oregon State? It's just like, that's the quote that, Miss Cleary says to Coach Norman Dale at the beginning of Hoosiers. Guy like you shows up in a place like this, either he's running away from something or he's got nowhere else to go. And Coach Norman Dale was doing a little bit of both. Worked out for him in the end. I don't see a similar end game to this saga, unfortunately so. And all of this, honestly, angers me less than what Steve told us and what was brought to light again in this piece by Canzano today. And that's him
100%.
looking Steve Johnson in the eye. Like, and I don't think you should base athletic accomplishment on how much respect you give an alumni of the program. I think they should all be treated with respect. Kyle Bjornstad and Steve Johnson are both different players in terms of, on-court achievement, but both of them wore the orange and black. Both of them did a lot for the school. Both of them are trying to help and care and are human beings and are deserving of your respect and demanding of your respect. And to look at Steve
Especially
Johnson,
as an outsider.
who had a plan and probably would have ran into some issues. We're not saying it would have turned him into the Orange Express again immediately overnight, but it's a good plan. And we go back and listen to both episodes we had with Steve, and was what any sensible athletic department should be begging their disengaged, very talented, very accomplished alumni to do. And for him to say, even if you're Gary Payton, 10 to 15 years from now, no one will remember you. Again,
If you walk in the Gill
Gary,
no one will remember you.
Right there. Gary, the biggest
Gary
painting.
Behind Benny. I see that hanging jersey.
Where is it?
The
Behind
biggest,
your left shoulder.
It's over there somewhere.
God
literally
damn
see
it,
it
Benny.
on
There
the
it is.
chair.
Oh, there it is. That's just so out of touch, and not to mention just incredibly disrespectful. And I can't stand it when sports organizations don't understand that the tier 1 and tier 1A things you need to understand are, it's about the players and it's about the fans. Everything below that, including you.
And you're at the bottom.
You are so replaceable. Doesn't mean you can't do a great job and you can't do great things, but you're so replaceable. And to have that conversation with someone like Steve Johnson, I'm glad it got in a Canzano piece today because more people are seeing it. I wish that many people listened to that initial interview with Steve, but just shows that there's been the trust has been broken. And in that interview too, Steve said there will be ramifications for the university. And I would call myself the most naive out of the three of us. I thought it'd be bad for the university, but I had hope that they can learn their lesson from this. This was obviously before Blueprint.
I think we had hoped that Damnation was gonna at least do enough, to fill the void that maybe
this was
could have been reached
ago,
with both
too.
of them. Yeah.
So, man, it feels like, I don't know if they were trying to break trust in literally every possible way that they could, but they have. And there's no way you can.
And they're not getting it back.
There's no way you can manipulate this contract with Blueprint to make me feel better about that. So I don't even know where we go from here, guys. I don't know what the hope is. I think even if you tear it down, which I suggested is what you need to do, it's hard. It would be hard for me if I was presented the contract to sign off on. President Murthy doing a full teardown and national search for a new athletic director starts today. I still think I'd sign it. And I think that's the only way at this point.
Well, and the shitty thing is once you tear it all down, you're still left with that contract with Blueprint.
Yeah.
That contract's not going away. It's 3 years. Right. And so if you want to...
The buyout's less than $1 million, though. It's 1/3 of what Trent Bray's buyout would be. And a lot of people are calling for Trent Bray's head right now. This would be a good compromise.
But we still have to pay them for literally no services rendered, at all.
Sure. So, it's God damn it.
or pay them for services rendered and then finally get rid of them and pay them for the future services unrendered.
We should mention
it is a fucking terrible deal.
The anonymous sources that are in a handful of these reported pieces range from people saying this is the worst deal imaginable, they got to get out of it ASAP, to the highest level of support it's gotten, which is meh. It's an okay deal.
Okay deal.
If someone off the record, not even like a tied to them, is saying it's an okay deal and that's the best you get, man, that's, the equivalent.
Not good.
Of like, hey.
Not good.
It's not good. It's not good.
Not good.
It's not good. And again, how did we get here? I think the focus needs to truly be on not like fire this guy and we're good. Fire this coordinator and we're good.
There's no firing that's going to fix everything.
How did we get to the point where we are neglecting our successful stories as student athletes now that they are alum? How did we get to the point where we are deciding we know best? We are removing those who have deep ties to the university from any decision-making position in order to make these calls without them, that we're disrespecting people who literally now and have bled black and orange. Yeah. And also misdirecting fans with a narrative that they're trying to control while everything around it is absolutely spiraling out of control, including their own house.
Can I give you my theory? It's that Scott Barnes spent all of his time and energy on the Pac-12.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to rebuild the Pac-12.
But how did we get there? How did we get there?
That's fair.
Don't answer that now. Think about it. Go ahead. But I want you to think, how did we get to that point? Because I have started to believe less and less that it wasn't a viewership thing. It wasn't a in-state or regional partner. We're just leaving you behind. No one wanted our athletic department.
I still think that it's the viewership thing, and because Washington State was in the same boat.
How their athletic department go after that point.
Yeah. Their athletic director left for their biggest rival.
Bingo.
But what I was gonna say is I think
only after Barnes turned that job down.
No. Did he really turn it down? Did he really turn it down? He did not turn it down. He did not turn it down. No. But I am telling you, it's a department deep issue.
It's clear that the department has been in disarray well before Blaylock came on board. I think we have some pretty reliable sources that have expressed as much, and
the dinosaurs
have expressed that much well before Blaylock came on board.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do think that Barnes spent all of his time and energy on the Pac-12 shit. He hired Blaylock to essentially take over some of the responsibilities of running the athletic department for the school, and he's lost complete control. I think that Blaylock, just based on the information that's public out there, a bit of a snake, and I think he'll take a mile when you give him an inch. And when he started running things in the athletic department, I don't think that he gave the reins back to Barnes, and I don't think that Barnes is strong enough to get them back. And I think that's, again, why you're running into this issue of Barnes and Murphy not coming to the defense of Blaylock, because they just don't know. And I do agree with what you said, too, is like you're in a lose-lose situation if you come to his defense.
You are in a lose-lose situation if you come to his defense. And I don't know. We'll see. I don't anticipate this being resolved anytime soon. If it felt like you had to wait years for a special teams coordinator to get fired after one of the biggest special teams kerfuffles,
just wait till you find out that Jonathan Smith never had a contract put in front of him, which is actually why he left.
Well, we're at a minute 94 now, and we might need significantly more time to unwrap that shit. I think we've probably gone enough on this for one night because a bunch of shit's gonna come out.
Well, not I was gonna say, the game, for predictions for the department,
for our lives. Well, before I was gonna so should I submit the credential request for the Wake Forest game, or do you guys want?
I think we're gonna see the following. I think we're going to see, before anything, I think Bray is gonna be let go, or there's going to be an agreement of him to not be in that head coaching role. I think that's first and foremost.
Coaches always go first.
And I do have a ton of respect for President Murphy. And I do think that she will inevitably make the right decision and cut ties with Barnes. But I don't think it's going to be because of this Blaylock thing. I think that it's going to, again, be a mutual decision that will probably come at the end of the athletic season at the earliest.
So in May, June of next year? Yeah.
At the earliest.
Yeah.
But I do think she'll make that decision.
Just in time for baseball's NIL budget to be half what was promised.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect timing to start over. Perfect timing.
Blaylock will be let go before that, though. I really think he is a dead man walking right now.
So when?
Within the next several months. I don't think that he'll last. I don't think he'll last till the end of basketball season.
That pains me. I'm going to have to say, if he's around, if Brent Blaylock is around by the end of this spooky ass season,
you're giving him Halloween?
I'm giving him Halloween. And if he's still here after that, he ain't leaving unless he's walking out on his own.
All right. Well,
interesting. I could see that.
I'll take the most cynical position again, as I do. I'll say he lasts this entire academic year, if not longer. I'm not saying he should.
I could see that too.
I'm saying
I don't have a whole lot of trust in our athletic department. So yeah.
Our athletic department doing something we want? They haven't done that since they hired Trent Bray. See, we're self-deprecating.
That was also something that's another topic for another episode. That was also something Barnes wanted because he did not have the money to get anybody else.
Probably not.
But it also was at that time the right choice. I'll leave it at that. But I do want to say that if you've canceled your donation, your monthly membership, whatever, if you're saying you're not going to give money to Oregon State, I'm in total understanding of that. I don't plan to. I'll be honest. I don't plan to. But you can still donate directly to programs, teams, have funds set up. They've always had them set up within the OSU Foundation. You can do it to the general fund, which is our Beaver Nation. You can go to fororegonstate.org. You can sign up for any sort of frequency, monthly, yearly, whatever, any amount you're comfortable doing that makes sense for you. Do not give up on the players. Do not give up on the players. I think the ramifications of this chaos, it's already hitting us. Diggin Rose is gone. He's gone. And you have to assume it's because of the turmoil. And it's not turmoil from fans. It's turmoil with the coaching staff. It's turmoil with the athletic department. And the only thing that could prop this up are true Beavers. The fans that care, that have passion, that want to see student athletes have the same student experience that they had at Oregon State. And if you want them to go to Oregon State, the reality is you have to pay them. That is the world we're in now. If you don't want to do it through Blueprint and hope that you're not above that $750K threshold, that they're going to tax you 75% and pocket the rest, do it through the OSU Foundation. Do it to our Beaver Nation and put instructions in there of who and what program you want to go to, and they'll distribute it. And that is also tax deductible, but maybe the real only way forward, especially if there's inaction within the administration.
Money talks.
That's the only
Blueprint's
way.
not going to stick around if they're not getting paid.
Right. And hopefully we can get back to a spot where we're not talking about these fuckers anymore. Next week, I promise we'll talk about the Oregon State volleyball team, because Coach Lindsey Bohonik has those girls playing amazing right now and are deserving of praise. Men's soccer deserving of praise, certainly. Oregon State athletics all over the place deserving of praise. But man, this has not been a small kerfuffle. And
nope.
Beaver fans
This is
are
a worse
rightly,
predicament than conference realignment.
I'm not there yet. But I also
Up there
it's
for sure.
there.
I think it
is there.
This is tied
existential.
to it. Yeah, I'm not saying it's not existential, but man, what a mess. We all predicted wins against Wake Forest.
I think we'll get our first win.
There you go. There's some,
I do.
There's some.
I think we'll get our.
There's
first
some
win this
sunshine
week.
for you.
Yeah, I'm calling it.
I don't share that enthusiasm, but
Yeah,
I hope you're right. I hope.
I want
right.
I want you to be right. But I'm shaking my head. I've been reading this book with my 2-year-old where it's just like babies who are like miming things, and she tells me what.
And it reminds you of Oregon State special teams.
Yeah. That's the head down.
Sorry, that's
like
it's offensive
yeah.
to the babies. I apologize.
Yeah,
To the author and the
do not
illustrator.
put the babies in that position. How dare you?
Oh man, well, what an uplifting, fun episode this was. Every time we talk about Blueprint Sports, I'm just re-energized with my love for the game. From all of us,
As you can tell by the silence,
at
we
Belligerent
all are.
Beavs. Thank you for listening to this, the 191st episode of the Belligerent Beavs podcast. If you're not giving money to Oregon State anymore, I don't presume to tell people or advise anyone on what they should do with their hard-earned cash, but I would encourage you to take a look at belligerentbeavs.com/merch, because 100% of that purchase will go towards the purchase of Belligerent Beavs goods. That is as much of a guarantee as you can get in this business right now, it appears.
And we don't sell Bray area stuff anymore.
It all sold out. Follow us
Yeah. Sanders bought it.
at Bellig
Never
Beavs
mind.
on Twitter, at Belligerent Beavs, everywhere else, belligerentbeavs.com, the aforementioned belligerentbeavs.com/merch. This is a very, very muted NPR way of ending the show. I'm Terry Horstman, at Terry Horstman on Twitter, at Terrence Horstman on Instagram,
And you're joined here by who?
by my best fucking friends.
Waldo
Goddammit.
and Waldo.
Waldo.
That's
Waldo
right.
and Dildo.
This is Waldo, and Dildo. We're a really niche law firm that specializes in finding missing persons
and missing dildos on
on
NBA
Craigslist.
cords.
Oh God! Thankfully, that's disappeared. But
Don't do
was
that.
a
That
thing?
league's also on fire. I love that was the other half of the 300 texts I woke up to every fucking morning. But that's neither here nor there. Benjamin Lawrence Sebastian Weage is here and there. He's fucking everywhere. AKA Benny with the good quaff. AKA Benny Bowl Game. Not this year though, buddy.
Probably not.
Let's just-
Not looking great.
Let's just go to the Sun Bowl anyway, man. It's gonna be a good time. Benny Burner, Benny Bedlam, because he's fucking crazy, folks. And on all the social media channels, at Benny L 1986. And the man, the myth, the legend, on the ones and twos, keeping the ship steered in the right direction. JP Bertram, that's at the Trill J. On Twitter, that's at the _Trill _J. Because he's too trill to be real. Not on Instagram, at JP Bertram. Once again, follow us for gosh darn sakes. At Bellig Beavs on Twitter, at Belligerent Beavs. Everywhere else. We'll have more episodes for the rest of this goddamn season and for the rest of Brent Blaylock's tenure in the Oregon State Athletic Department and for long
Eternity.
after that as well. Oh yeah, we couldn't kill this thing if we tried, and we have tried and we can't, so we're here. You're stuck with us. Thank you for
The
listening.
athletic department's trying to kill it.
Exactly. And others as well. We
And they'll
won't get into
definitely
that.
try to continue to kill it after this episode.
I think that they should focus on some bigger problems, I hope, but I'm not super optimistic. But anyway, Thank you for listening. Please give us a 5-star review. If we get any 1-star reviews this week, I'll know where they came from. And
Brent,
it won't be too hard to figure out. Share the show with a friend. It really helps us grow the show a lot. And God, it feels hard to say it at this time. Remember, no matter what they do, no matter what they say, no matter what they take away, whether it's 75% or 50%, they still can't spell chop 'em without hope. So chop 'em.
chop 'em.
Chop 'em.
And Beavs back, I guess.
Fire Brent.